Hi there, and welcome to the Alberta Update. A look at what's happening in your province. I am your host, Bruce McAllister. Thank you for joining us. Coming up on the program, we will chat with the Premier as the Alberta Legislature wraps its sitting. We'll talk to her about some of what was accomplished, as well as another strong message for Ottawa. And Tourism and Sport Minister Joseph Schow will drop by as well. We'll talk about what should be a promising season for the Alberta tourism industry. Let us begin, as we try to most weeks, with the Premier, and we've got lots to ask her about this week. Premier, thank you, as always, for joining us.
Hi, Bruce.
Hey, let's start with a wrap on the session, just an overview. 3 months, a long time up there. Look, are you happy overall with what you were able to accomplish?
There was a lot that we had to do. We had a number of bills that had to come forward to bring up to speed the Municipal Government Act and the Local Government Elections Act, because we're going to see an election next year at the municipal level. We had to make some changes to our Emergencies Act in order to be prepared for hazard season. We are doing pretty well managing through fire season, even though the folks at Fort McMurray had to be evacuated. They were able to return home relatively quickly. Now we're still facing the twin problem of drought and flood, and so we needed to make sure that we had some good direction around that for if a community finds themselves in trouble, they'll know that we're there and ready and able to help. And we're also beginning the major work that we promised in the last election of refocusing the healthcare system. So there's some really big pieces of legislation that we had to put into place, and I'm looking forward to getting to work on implementing that over the summer.
You celebrated a big anniversary this week too. It's been a year since you won the election. So time flies. I know it's hard to believe it's been a year already. That said, you've accomplished a lot. How would you assess the first year?
I can tell you that we identified very early what our priorities were as a government. They fell into 4 or 5 key areas. And so one of the big areas was standing up to Ottawa. And we have found that time and time again, we've had to push back against them, whether it was on the net zero electricity regs, whether it's on an emissions cap, whether it's on the plastics ban, labeling it toxic, whether it's their invasion of our areas of provincial jurisdiction. I think the last time I spoke to our justice minister about it, we've got in the works potentially 20 different actions against the federal government, to give you an idea of just how much they disrespect our jurisdiction. So I think we've done a good job standing up for Albertans and making sure that they understand that we're going to fight for our jurisdiction and that the Constitution matters. Second area, of course, was healthcare refocusing. I mean, one of the problems that we discovered very early on is that all roads lead to the emergency rooms of a hospital. And so we have to do a better job of developing a robust primary care system. And so we've signed on with a new deal for nurse practitioners to have their own practices, as well as a new deal for doctors to make it easier to enter that practice. We're building new recovery communities so that we have the ability to treat both mental health and addiction. And the next big step is to make sure that we've got enough long-term and assisted living care facilities so that people have another place to be able to convalesce and live out their lives. And we hope with all of that's going to get Alberta Health Services absolutely focused on doing what they can do best, which is delivering surgeries and also treating people in hospital efficiently. Other major area was affordability. And I can tell you, my electricity minister has done an amazing job. Every part of the electricity system was broken, from the generation, through the transmission, through the distribution, through the regulated rate option, through the fees that municipalities were charging. And so we have put in a framework to be able to address all of those, to bring down the cost of electricity. We still have a consultation going on right now for insurance. That's another big area that we've got to tackle. And because of all of the indexation that we have done, it's made life more affordable for those who are vulnerable. And of course, one of the last big areas is public safety. We did a major approach in Edmonton in January to clear out the encampments and to make sure that people who are vulnerable are given a pathway to get into either housing or get into addiction treatment or get the services that they need. And it appears to be working. We managed to attach more than 900 people to 3,000 different services. It's worked so well, we're going to do the same thing in Calgary. So I'm very pleased that the things that our caucus identified as priorities are things that we've been able to act on.
Premier, it must be working. A lot of people are moving to Alberta. We remain a booming destination for entrepreneurs, of course, business leaders, for capital investment. You recently spoke to the Alberta Chambers of Commerce. I would gather that was part of the message you delivered.
Jobs economy. It's been remarkable to see that that was another area that we knew as a government that we had the ability to deliver on that in a way that in some ways no one else in the country has been able to deliver on. Over 200,000 people voting with their feet, coming here to find opportunity. We're doing a tremendous job of connecting young people and mature workers to jobs that are and opportunities that are available in the skilled trades and professions. That I think is going to continue to attract people here. We've got record investment in venture capital. We're becoming a burgeoning market for new investments in technology. We've got some of our own homegrown unicorns, which is the term that they use for $1 billion market cap company. We also have a number of programs that are attracting investment in the Alberta petrochemical area, in the agri-food business, in film and television, and we're going to have a carbon capture tax credit that we hope will continue to attract investment in those who want to be carbon neutral. We've already seen amazing final investment decisions made on things like Dow Chemicals' net zero petrochemical plant and Air Products' net zero hydrogen. Hoping to see very soon an announcement on a net zero facility for Heidelberg to produce cement. And everything in between. It's been truly amazing. I should even just mention last week, went to the Amazon Fulfillment Center. Amazon now has 11 different installations in Alberta, including a massive fulfillment center that allows them to get products in and out from not only local entrepreneurs, but also to all the customers in Alberta who want to be able to receive those goods. So I would say that increasingly people are seeing that Alberta is the place to be, and we're seeing it in the job growth numbers, the investment numbers, as well as the business incorporation numbers. It's truly amazing to see.
Premier, hardly a week goes by that you're not presented with another challenge. Albertans are not presented with another challenge from the federal government. You recently released a joint statement on the federal oil and gas emissions cap, and I think your message here was the policy harms not only Albertans but Canadians.
And it really does. When you look at when the Canadian Association of Petroleum Producers hired S&P to look at what the long-term implications would be of an emissions cap, they talk about it reducing the amount of barrels by 2.1 million barrels per day of production. That is somewhere in the order of about $6 or $7 billion worth of revenue that it would mean for our province alone, not to mention the loss of economic growth, the loss of investment in those companies, the loss of jobs that would happen at those firms. And when you lose jobs and you also lose the profits associated with profitable companies, it also affects the federal government and their bottom line. It makes no sense. The federal government really should be working with us on what our target is. Our target is neutrality by 2050, because we believe that with the new technologies that are being invested in, and a long enough time horizon so that the capital turnover makes sense, so that no one has stranded assets, everybody is committed to doing what they can to have less impact on the environment and reduce emissions. If they would just work with us, work with industry, we'd be able to achieve those targets, but also be able to make sure that we've got the very best standard of living and quality of life in the world. And it's actually false economy for them to think that they can punish this industry and then on timelines that are not achievable. What's the point of that? If it means that we're not going to be able to do these kind of investments to be world leading, and what's the point of that if it means that our partners and neighbors and trading partners around the world are going to have to continue to rely on higher emitting fuels? It makes no sense. It doesn't achieve the goals that they say they want to achieve from an environmental point of view, and it's just punitive to Albertans and to Canadians, and we're not going to stand for it.
And largely through your leadership, I think, Premier, more and more people are waking up to those points and growing in support here for the things that you're saying in Alberta. Listen, you talked about this a minute ago when you some of the things that you're most proud of. Your approach to mental health and addiction here in Alberta has been a cornerstone of the government. You recently visited the Red Deer Remand Center last weekend. What was that visit about?
Well, we have what we're calling a therapeutic living unit within now 4 corrections facilities. I believe one just opened up this week, but Red Deer's been in operation for a year. And the inmates have to apply to be in it. They have to really want to work on themselves and work towards building what they call recovery capital, so that they can go on to live independent lives and hopefully not find themselves back in a prison environment. And so the gentlemen who were there right now, I think there's about 10 of them. They've been incarcerated for varying lengths of time. and they have different dates that they're going to end up leaving that environment, but they're all working hard on trying to make amends for what they've done in the past, figure out what they're going to do when they leave, make sure that they're reconnecting with family, and really take a look at why it is that they suffer from addiction and the harms that they've caused. And the thing that really struck me was the one question was asked, why are you doing this? Like, why are you investing in us this way? No one else has before. And my view is that there's really only two pathways when you are on that life. It's either you're going to continue to be in and out of jail, and one day you probably end up dying of your addiction, or you're going to recover and you're going to go on to doing something meaningful. And if recovery is at least to that happy pathway, why not try to get more people on that pathway as soon as we can? And so when you have the number of people who find themselves in and out of prison are the ones who are out there committing crimes, creating more social disorder. If we can break that cycle, we're going to improve the lives not only for those inmates, but also for all of the people who would otherwise be impacted. So I'm very pleased that they're so enthusiastic about participating in that program and that we're able to offer it. No one else in the country is doing this.
No, here, and your Minister Dan Williams doing a tremendous job. I know there's a team effort on it. As you look to continue providing these opportunities for families and for individuals to overcome addiction, some plans underway in Grand Prairie for a new recovery community. Can you speak to that and maybe how you're going to expand that program as well?
Well, here's the thing I think people need to know when it comes, there is a linkage between mental health and addiction. They're not always the same thing, but sometimes you have to treat a mental health issue by treating an underlying addiction problem. And in both cases, if those patients are in acute care hospitals, it's one of the things that is causing us to have bottlenecks in hospitals in being able to treat patients for all variety of things that they need to go for, whether it's an emergency care or whether it's a surgery. So our thinking around this is that let's deliver people the kind of care they need in specialized facilities. So it's going to be some specialized mental health facilities. It's going to be some specialized addiction facilities. In either case, it's going to make sure that we're having all of our parts of our healthcare system operating efficiently. And what we're hoping is that with a dedicated focus with professionals on recovery and addiction treatment, that is going to give many more people an additional shot at a new life. We've had a terrible problem in the last 10 years with an increasingly harmful opioid addiction crisis, moving to harder and harder drugs that are absolutely deadly. And we want to make sure that we can break that and that people know that there's hope, that we're not going to give up on them. So whether it's in Red Deer, where the first one was, Lethbridge, where the second one was, or now up in Grand Prairie, we know that this is a problem that is not just impacting the big cities of Calgary and Edmonton. It's now become a problem that's hitting every part of our province, and we're going to tackle it wherever it is.
All right, Premier, listen, thanks as always for taking some time to talk to us. We know how busy you are. We appreciate it. Take care. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, Bruce.
All right. There's our Premier Danielle Smith joining us here on the Alberta Update. Well, more than 5 years ago, cannabis was legalized in Canada under federal legislation, making it more accessible to the public for non-medical and recreational use for those 18 years of age or older. Given the available data following legalization, Alberta's government is working with drug policy experts, with doctors and professors to examine the impacts of cannabis on youth aged 25 and under. Following the review, evidence collected could inform future policy changes in Alberta to ensure children and youth are protected from the harms of cannabis. Well, no child or youth should ever have to deal with the traumatizing and lifetime impacts of abuse and sexual violence. The reality is 1 in 3 Albertans have experienced sexual abuse while they were under the age of 18, including 44% of girls and 24% of boys. These experiences can result in a range of negative outcomes, including aggression, depression, anxiety, self-harm, and PTSD. And they can continue to impact these children along into adulthood in the form of addiction and mental illness. Alberta's government is providing $5 million to Little Warriors over the next 3 years to support the healing journey of children and youth who have survived sexual violence.
When the children arrive here, their heads are down, they can't look you in the eye, they're slouched over, their hoodies are pulled, and by the end of their treatment with us, their chins are up, they're smiling, they're happy, and they've done the brave, hard work of really exploring their trauma and understanding that they are not to blame, that they do not need to feel shame or guilt for what someone did to them.
What we think is really special is some of the quilts that come from survivors and other community supports have little messages on the inside, really encouraging them to continue their healing journey.
It was actually the children's idea. They wanted to leave notes behind for others that they knew were just starting their hard journeys with us to heal.
What we're seeing is that there is decreases in symptoms related to post-traumatic stress. So things like flashbacks, things like somatic experiences that really debilitate them related to anxiety and depression.
Every child deserves to be safe and live without fear of abuse. They deserve every opportunity to grow and thrive. And I'm so grateful Little Warriors makes that possible by offering a safe place for kids and teens who've experienced sexual abuse to process what they've been through.
The funding that this minister has provided is a game changer for us.
Well, the spring legislative session wrapped up after about 3 months of debate. Joining us now with some highlights and some insight on all of this is the House Leader in the Ministry of Tourism and Sport, Joseph Schow. Minister, I know it's been a busy stretch. Thanks for coming by.
It's always great to be with you, Bruce.
Hey, let's start with this one, and it's sort of open-ended, but there was so much going on. As House Leader, you're obviously play a big role in what goes through the legislature, all of the debate, all that takes place. Are you happy with what the government was able to accomplish in this last 3 months?
Yeah, I think we saw ourselves complete a lot of campaign platform commitments. We passed 13 bills. So for me, it was a very fruitful session, and I think we got the people's work done in what was a pretty timely manner. So now that we're done session, I'm really excited to get back in the constituency, get back to doing some ministerial work out on the road with the tourism file and the sport file, and help sell this province because we have such a great story to tell.
Let's talk about that a little bit, Minister. Summer is almost upon us. That has many of us making vacations plans, of course, travel and tourism, always top of mind for you. You were recently at Rendezvous Canada. That was an event in Edmonton connecting with tourism operators and some of the international delegates. Can you tell us more about what came of that conference?
It was an excellent conference for Alberta, and it was a great chance for us to show off the best we have to offer. What it Rendezvous is tourism buyers and travel agents come from around the world here to Edmonton or somewhere else in Canada, wherever it's hosted. And each province will put forth a bunch of booths of their vendors, everything from Métis Crossing to Painted Warriors Ranch to the ski hills, Banff and Jasper. And of course, every province brings their best, really trying to show off to the people coming from Europe to sell this product to their clients where they should be sending them. Now, what was fantastic about our experience here is Edmonton hosted it. They put on an incredible show. But before Rendezvous even started, we had all the buyers here in advance, and they all did one of 19 familiarization tours, which is basically an opportunity for people who have tourism products in Alberta to show that off in kind of a VIP circuit, under a VIP setting. So by the time all the buyers got to Rendezvous to meet with the vendors, they had already seen almost all of Alberta, and they were raving. They were raving about it, Bruce. I mean, they couldn't stop talking about it. So we came in with a bit of a loaded deck. We did an amazing job, and I was really proud of Alberta and how we showed out.
Love it. Listen, I've heard you talk about this before. The international visitors are back. International travelers are coming here in droves again. A big part of that, of course, is access to air travel. Anything that your government's doing to support that growth and make that more convenient?
Yeah, well, we continue to fund the air travel piece, working with partners like Alberta's flagship carrier of WestJet. They've been fantastic as they continue to expand routes into the province. Without those routes coming from foreign destinations like Japan and Korea, the United Kingdom, France, the list goes on, we wouldn't have been able to hit those targets. And what's nice is I think the last time we spoke, we talked about these tourism numbers and the spending and that missing piece. We're back. In fact, we've matched 2019 numbers in the first 3 quarters of 2023 with international spending. So I'm jacked.
Yeah, 100%. Listen, looking ahead to the summer, give us a few highlights. What are some of the things that you're looking forward to, and what would you want to highlight for Albertans to go and check out in their own backyard?
Well, you can't miss Stampede. It's a staple in Alberta. K-Days is always a great time here in Edmonton. But then you start going around the rest of the province, hop on the rodeo circuit in Ponoka, Sundre, even down in my neck of the woods, the Cardston Heritage Days. So there's a lot of great things happening this summer. I definitely encourage Albertans to go check out Travel Alberta's website. Lots of cool things there, what's being offered for tourists within the province and from beyond our borders.
Hey, listen, when it comes to ministers, you're probably one of the most active in your file, probably because of the file that you have. But that said, I want to leave you with this. I'm going to show some video. We're going to pull it up here as we chat. You took part in the Slush Cup at Sunshine Village, which looks like a whole lot of fun.
Yeah.
Tell us what this event is about, and how was it for you?
Sure. So Slush Cup is the last day of open skiing at Sunshine Village, and I had a chance to go out there and meet with Ralph Scurfield and his daughter, chat about some of the amazing things they're doing in Banff and to attract tourism. But I also got a chance to be one of the 5 judges for Slush Cup. And really, what it is skiers go down the hill as fast as they can. They hit a jump, and then there's a really long pool of water, and they just skim across the pool. This year, there was over 100 competitors, both skiers and snowboarders. I think one guy in those little mini skis, he did not do well. But I've never seen it before, and I'm having a hard time even describing it. Suffice to say, it's quite a time up there. I encourage anybody to get a chance. The guy who won was dressed as the penguin, kind of a top hat and a morning coat and an umbrella. And he actually did the jump, skimmed across the entire water, and he was the 2-time champion. So congratulations to the penguin. It was pretty cool to see. And it was also a great chance for people to get out, get to the top of the mountain. Was interesting too, and probably more just indicative of Alberta weather, is it was back and forth. I came back to the session with a sunburn on my face, not thinking I'd have one because it was super sunny, and then all of a sudden it'd be a snowstorm and then back to sunny. But I guess that's show business.
Well, Minister, before I let you go, listen, you know me, I'm an ideas guy. I've got an idea for next year. Why don't you get a set of skis and participate in the Slush Cup? We'll have some great video. We'll see how that goes.
I can tell you how it's going to go, Bruce. It's not going to go well. I snowboarded my entire life. None of the snowboarders even made it close to getting across. The skiers did. And I suspect that if I was to jump on there, I'd probably find myself in a position where I might go head over heels. What are the skiers called? Scorpion, where your heels go over your back of your head. Not a good look for a 6'9" guy.
Well, it was worth trying. Listen, thanks for this. Thanks for all your work, and enjoy some time with family. We'll catch you soon.
Thanks, Bruce. Take care.
All right, Minister of Tourism and Sport, Joseph Schow. Well, Alberta's workforce, we know, is facing a shortage of skilled trades workers, making life more expensive for families and leaving job openings unfilled. To meet the demands of a growing economy and create opportunities for students in high-demand fields, Alberta's government is investing in a new Advanced Skills Centre at NAIT. This centre will train an additional 4,200 apprentices every year in some of Alberta's most in-demand fields.
This investment sets NAIT on a path to deliver the most comprehensive, leading-edge apprenticeship and technology-based education anywhere. It will meet the needs of industry by targeting 4 key sectors: construction, transportation, manufacturing, and energy. The Advanced Skills Centre will create 640,000 square feet of new state-of-the-art learning space.
Construction of the Advanced Skills Centre is slated to begin in 2025 and will include flexible and adaptable learning spaces that can be expanded to accommodate new or growing programs to meet future labor market demands. Thousands of Albertans enjoy the hundreds of unique trail experiences that Alberta's Crown Land offers to hikers, to cyclists, to cross-country skiers, and to equestrian users. Through Alberta's Public Lands Trails Grant Program, the government will provide $1 million to 14 trails organizations. This funding will help to keep trails safe and accessible and work to ensure there are sufficient high-quality and low-cost recreation opportunities for Albertans and visitors alike to enjoy. This week is National Accessibility Week. To promote accessible travel experience across the province, Travel Alberta has released a video series highlighting the accessible adventures around Alberta. Take a look at one of the unique experiences making tourism more accessible to Albertans of all ages.
Hi, I'm Ryan Stresnitsky, former Humboldt Bronco and a hopeful Paralympian in the future. Back in 2018, I suffered a spinal cord injury, which has opened my eyes to the accessible world around me and adaptive sports as well. I'm on a mission to showcase the accessible adventures we can have in Alberta, and I'm helping my friends get out into nature. Today, I'm with my friend Chris, who's an above-the-knee amputee, and we're trying water sports with Steve from local accessible adventure organization, Adaptable Outdoors. All right, Steve, where are we today?
Today, we're at Cameron Lake in Waterton National Park in southwestern Alberta. We have a one-of-a-kind adaptive fishing canoe. It's the only one in the world, designed specifically so that people with high needs can get out in the boat kayak fishing. What would you guys like to get out of today?
Getting into fishing again. I did it when I was younger, but doing it now after my accident. So it's going to be an exciting moment.
It's my first time getting out in a kayak like this. The dock system that's set up here is absolutely amazing. I'm really excited to see that because I think that is something that can be learned and implemented in a lot of different places.
When you want to pull it back up, you just hold your steering straight and then pop that rudder back up. But yeah, these are super stable boats.
I can test that.
They're hard to flip. I won't say they're impossible because you'll take that as a challenge, so. All right, awesome. Let's do it. And we can also race Chris.
Just remember, you're racing a guy with a disability, so it's either a story.
I'm not gonna hold back.
You either beat a guy with one leg, or a guy with one leg beats you. It's not a story you can tell your friends.
Basically, I lose either way. So that's all you now, Ryan. I'm not moving it at all.
All right.
So you gotta keep it pushed down, the tab at the bottom.
Oh, there we go. I got her. Oh, sorry.
She knew exactly what.
Yeah, right in my face.
I've already met so many people who they're in their 30s and they've never experienced an adaptive sport before.
Fish on!
Yeah, Chris has got a fish.
No way.
Everybody should be able to enjoy our parks.
Nice!
Our parks are for everybody, not just able-bodied ones.
Want the sail open? Letting the wind do the work.
We're full on sailing now.
So I'm noticing that there's obviously been a fire around these areas.
Yeah, so in 2017, around 36% of the park burnt down. But what you see is after fire comes regeneration. It creates amazing habitat for grizzly bears, other animal species, and also plant species come up that wouldn't have had the opportunity to either. So although fire can cause a bit of destruction, it's a natural process that results in regeneration, rebirth.
And that's sort of correlated with what Adaptable does, right? A lot of people feel like they go through some adversity in life, but through Adaptable, they can find their regeneration and hopefully grow and succeed.
Ryan's got one as well. Yeah, you got fish, buddy.
No way. Chris, look at this.
1-1. Awesome, good work, buddy. At the end of the day, all of us, at some point in our lives, our abilities are going to change. whether it's through an accident, whether it's through illness, whether it's just through old age. We don't have to stop doing the activities that we love. There's a way we can all adapt to still be able to do those things. But sometimes, you know, the physical barriers are actually the easiest ones to overcome. It's the mental barriers that we put on ourselves, saying we can't do things, but there's nothing we can't do if we put our minds to it.
Well, I got to work on my fishing game, so
It needs a lot of work.
it is a lot of work, yeah. If you're looking for accessible adventures in southern Alberta, get in touch with Adaptable Outdoors. I'm Ryan Stresnitsky, and I'll see you out there.
You have 2 fishing rods, eh?
Yeah,
Oh, that's how you caught the fish. You cheated. You used both.
I did.
You can see more accessible adventures around Alberta and the tools available to make tourism business inclusive to all visiting travelalberta.com. And that does it for this episode of the Alberta Update, a look at what's happening in your province. We do these shows every week when the legislature is sitting, and every other week when it is not. To subscribe, go to YouTube and subscribe to the Premier's, the government's YouTube page. And of course, you can always check us out on socials as well. Again, that'll do it for this week, and we will see you back here again in a couple of weeks' time. Thanks. Good day.